Welcome to the in-depth guide for VFL for Masters Toronto. Now this is aimed towards people who have never played VFL before or simply forgot what was going on in Stage 1, so we're going to take everything pretty slowly and understand how this all works. So let's start with actually signing up. So you're going to go in the link in the description or the pinned comment. There will be a link to the website, but it is www.valorantfantasyleague.net. And then that'll take you to the homepage, but you're going to come across to the account page just here, and you'll see a little button that says register just here, and you're just going to click that. It's going to take you to a Discord authorization thing, and you're just going to authorize, and that is it. You're now in. Let's just talk about the basics of Valorant Fantasy in general. The point is that you're going to pick a team of players. Now here I'm still using the kind of Stage 1 website because we don't quite have the Toronto one up just yet. So this is what it looked like for Stage 1. It will be slightly different for Toronto, but the basic principle is that you had 4 different roles for Duelist, Initiator, Controller, and Sentinels just here, and some wildcard slots as well. We'll get to them in a second, but basically, each of the players that you could have picked was put into a different role. So you can see here are all of the duelists from Stage 1, right? And you could pick any of them. You know, let's say we wanted to pick Aspas. They each have their own kind of individual cost here as well. And you could add them to your team for that cost. Now, you see here that we had 100 Valorant points to spend in Stage 1. Now, that is going to change as well, but we'll get to that in a second. And each of the players, as you see here with Aspas, he has a price of just 15. So if you picked Aspas, that would mean that you had 85 left to spend on the rest of your team. Now, as I said, players were divided into the 4 Valorant roles, right? So for instance, you've got Initiators here, you've got Controllers here, and you've got Sentinels as well. But then you also had wildcard slots. Now, wildcard slots are basically, it just means you can pick anything, right? You can pick any player. Of course, as long as they're not already on your team in one of the other slots. This could be anyone you wanted it to be, right? So you see here, we've got the list of basically every single player. So you could pick a Sentinel here, you could pick an Initiator, you could pick a Duelist, you could pick a Controller, right? You could pick whoever you want to in the wildcard slot. It basically is just a slot for really anyone. Now, there is also a limit on how many players from one team that you can have, and that is a maximum of 2 players per team. For Toronto, you're actually only going to be picking 6. Now, you'll only have 50 Valorant points to spend overall. I have also updated the prices as well. So the prices will be different to what they were during Stage 1. But you're going to pick 1 Duelist, 1 Initiator, 1 Controller, 1 Sentinel, and 2 Wildcards. And now let's talk about game weeks, because VFL is split up into different sections, essentially, right? And for Masters Toronto, there's going to be 3 different game weeks. Now, during a game week, you cannot change your team, right? So once the game week starts, that's it. You're locked in for that set amount of time. And then when the game week ends, then you can make some changes to your team. So for Masters Toronto, there's going to be 3 game weeks. And those game weeks are going to be, the first one is just going to be all of the Swiss stage. The second one is going to be here in the playoffs, and it will start with the upper quarterfinals, and it will end with lower round 2. So it'll be all of this just here, and then the third and final game week will be these final 4 games just here. Okay, so the first one will be the Swiss, second one will be all of this, and the third one will be all of this. And the reason that that is the case is because there will be a gap after the Swiss and before the start of playoffs. You'll have a couple days where you can make changes to your team. And similar here, after lower round 2 ends, there will be a couple days break before the final 4 starts here. And again, you in that break can make changes to your team. Now in that break, you will get 3 transfers each game week. What does that mean? Well, that means that, for instance, if you put Aspas here as your Duelist player, let's say MIBR don't make it out of Swiss. Well, that means he's obviously going to score no points in the next game week because he's not playing, right? So that means that you would probably need to get rid of Aspas. And so what you can do is you can sell Aspas, who I think costs 12.5 for this purpose. You will get that money back, and then you can go and spend it on someone else, right? Maybe now you want Kayak, right, as your Duelist for the playoffs. And it doesn't have to be people who can be eliminated. If you have, you know, a full 6 team of people who are through to the playoffs, then you can freely pick. You don't have to make 3 transfers either. You can leave it. If you're happy with your team, you can just say, I'm happy with my team, and carry on going forward. But once that deadline comes, so once that game, the first game of a game week starts, then you can no longer make any more changes to your team. So for instance, when building your initial team, you can change it up as much as you want, as long as it only costs 50 Valorant points. But then once the first game of Swiss starts, you're going to have to wait till the end of Swiss before you can then make another change. But now let's talk about how you actually win in this game, right? How do you actually score points in VFL? Because that really is the ultimate goal, to score as many points as you possibly can. Well, there's three main ways of scoring points in VFL. The first one is kills. So if your player manages to get 10 kills in a map, they will get 1 point. They will get 2 if they get 15 in that map, 3 if they get 20, etc. Now this is done on a map by map basis, so it's not at the end of the whole series how many kills they got. It is one map, they got 10. The next map, they got 15, and you will get the points for just that map on its own. You also get an extra point if they get a 4K in any round, and +3 if they get 5 or more kills in any round as well. You also get points for map wins, so if the team that your player is on wins a map, they get +1 for that map win. They also get +2 if they win a 2-0. They also get +1 for a map win by 5+ rounds, so that's a 13-8 or better. They'll get an extra bonus point for that as well, but if they win by 10+ rounds, so 13-3 or better, they'll get a +2. But they'll get -1 if they lose. So if they lose 3-13, they get -1. But there have been some small updates and tweaks as well, which is this. So during stage 1, if you got less than 10 kills, you just got 0 points. But now if you get 0 kills, you actually get -3. If you only manage 1 to 4 kills, and this is per map again, you get -1. And if you get 5 or 9 kills, then you get 0. Right, so that has been updated slightly, and there's been a slight update to if you win 13-0 as well, so this is what it was, but now it's this. So if you win 13-0, you get a massive bonus, and if you lose 13-0, you get a massive minus. But the third way of scoring points is to have a good VLR rating at the end of the entire series. Because if you are the highest rated player on VLR, then you will get +3 for that performance, the second best will get +2, and the third best will get +1. You'll also get an extra bonus point on top of that if you have a VLR rating above 1.5, 1.75, or 2, you'll get 1, 2, and 3 respectively. And again, unlike the kills and the map wins, the VLR bonus points are at the end of the entire series rather than just relating to one map. You will also have the ability to set one player as your IGL. It might be called MVP by the time that the game actually starts, but either way, they're the same thing. IGL or MVP, it basically means that that player is going to get double points for you in that game week. Now again, you can change your IGL or MVP, whatever it ends up being called, in between the game weeks like you can with transfers and other things as well. Now for these international events, there is going to be a slightly different rule to what there will be during the kind of regular season events, because of course, as I'm sure some of you will be aware, in a Swiss stage, some teams are only going to play 2 games, whereas other teams are going to play 3 games. And so obviously that would be unfair, because, you know, some teams are just playing an extra game, an extra chance to get more points. So what is going to be done is that basically at the end of the game week, it will be calculated whatever the top 2 scores that your player gets, right? So if your player scored 10 points, and then they scored 8 points, and then they scored 5 points, your player would end up with 18 points overall, right? So they would just take the top 2 scores, whatever that might be, not necessarily the first 2, but any of the top 2 scores, they just get added together, and the third one just gets completely disregarded. Obviously, if it's the same, like if it was 10, 8, 8, you again would just take a 10 and an 8. And that there is all you really need to know when it comes to playing VFL.